Hi, this is Wesley.
This is Ka'shenia.
And we would like to welcome you to
the Underground Geek Shack.
Hey, do you want to know something?
What, Wes?
Believe in the me who believes in you.
Wait, didn't we just do Gurren Lagann?
I think we did like a couple episodes ago. But we're not talking about Gurren Lagann today.
Okay, because I was about to say we've covered all of Gurren Lagann.
We're jumping in to Luna Nova Academy.
So you're telling me that we're jumping into another trigger thing?
Yes.
We're going into Little Witch Academia.
Yes, or in your
oh my god, no.
My Little Witch Academia.
Listen here, okay, so my stupid little brain has gotten into the stupid little effect of, if it ends in academia, that means the beginning of the title must start with my. But
and this one did not end.
This
did not start
not.
in my.
It did not start in mine. It's completely messed me up when it comes to referencing Little Witch Academia. Mm-hmm. But you're right. So, Little Witch Academia, I'll be quite honest.
Uh-huh.
So, when it comes to getting into this show,
yeah,
I literally was just like, when I first heard of it, when it first came out, because I think this came out, after the first season of My Hero Academia. After it came out, after the first season came out, I was thinking, oh, cool, they're making a girl version of My Hero Academia. Was my first initial thoughts. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts when you first heard of this anime?
I was like, what the heck is Little Witch Academia? And then I was like, you know what? Let me check it out. And I checked it out, and I fell in love with it.
Because I think you watched it shortly after it came out.
This came out in It's weird. I want to say 2007, but I'm not sure. Maybe 2017. I'm jumping all over.
I'm about to say it definitely did not come out in 2007. This came out during
it was probably 2017.
It came out during the academia craze when My Hero was really getting up there in popularity.
Yeah. Sorry, it was partially through. My mind was looking at, like, you know how, like, whenever you look at the title, like the credits and everything, and it shows like when the show actually like aired.
Yeah.
And my mind saw 2017 and took the one and scratched off.
Just like 0.
It was like, we're just gonna turn that to a 0 real quick.
I remember, because the only reason why I kind of know a little bit about this show was this was back when I first started watching. He wasn't known as the Anime Dan. He was just known as Geek back then. Or Garnt, as he's now known now.
Yeah.
But when he made his anime in this season or whatever, and he's like, Little Witch Academia, what now? Or is the anime craze going to start following anything with something Academia? Yeah. That's how I kind of like knew about this. And he said he watched it and he said, oh, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't say too much about it. So my only thing was knowing that this was another Studio Trigger property, because you can kind of tell by the animation style.
Also, this is 2 seasons.
Yeah, this is 2 seasons, but we're only talking about the first season.
Yeah.
But by the end, like by the style of the characters and stuff like that, I was just kind of like, okay, so it's made by Trigger. And that's all I knew about it. At this point in my anime career, when Little Witch Academia first came out, the only thing I knew about Trigger was they made Kill la Kill. They made Gurren Lagann, but I haven't watched either of those. I think I started Kill la Kill, but I wasn't too engrossed in it.
See, I had watched Kill la Kill, but this is way before I had ever watched Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
So all I knew was Kill la Kill, and I was like,
and I knew the type of like approprieties that they, how appropriate they were when it came to Kill la Kill. So I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling about Little Witch Academia.
And so when I watched it, I was like, all right, what's this actually gonna be about? And then when I watched it, I was like, yo, okay, I'm getting into this, and in which I'm gonna just jump straight in, but like. There's tell me why I'm always the type of person who goes, there's a lot I can learn from this. I'm not lying, because like there was legit a lot you can learn from this.
In all actuality, there is a lot you can learn from this. When it comes to this show, it does a lot. So some of like just a list of things that this show can teach you. There are traditions, but it's okay to break those traditions.
Some traditions are meant to be broken.
Yeah, I feel like that's another property. I feel like that's a Disney movie, but I don't.
Right?
There are traditions that are meant to be broken. I think this was brave. But yeah, there are traditions that are meant to be broken. Follow your heart, basically. Don't let other people discourage you. There's also a great lesson in which we learn from episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, we're not going to jump too much in this. We're going to kind of like follow, but I just want to mention this.
Mm-hmm.
You can admire somebody, but you don't have to become that person.
Right.
The show shows different ways of admiration towards an idol.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this in different ways. Okay, so I'm going to bring back Yuri on Ice, even though we've never officially talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Yuri on Ice, Yuri idolized Victor.
Yeah.
But it was one of those. Yeah, he still idolized him, but he didn't want to become him. While in Akko's case, she wanted to become Shining Chariot.
Yeah.
But as the season went through, you start to see, because even especially with that third to last episode where she was given the chance of, hey, you can become the Shining Chariot that you always wanted to be.
Right. You can. This is your goal. You can obtain this.
You can,
except you're just gonna have to give up your past.
Yeah, you're gonna give up everything in your past. But we're gonna get to that like here soon. It's just, I was like, wow. I mean, people don't really talk about this when it comes to admiration towards an idol. Right. Because this is basically, this is an idol.
Not in that sense.
Not in that sense, but like jokingly, this is just like, how do you show appreciation or admiration towards a mentor?
Or like one thing you can also think of is like, it's like in one of the later episodes, it's when Ursula, the professor who's Akko's guidance counselor, she goes, she says one of the spells, Adalalia Virgo, and she says, you don't get the dream, you don't get the stuff you dream for, you get the stuff you work for.
Yeah.
And it's like, you take a step back and you're like, snap.
That's basically what this whole show is about.
Yeah.
Is not getting what you exactly dreamed for, but putting in the hard work to get what you can't obtain.
Right.
And this is basically a show of like working hard in the face of opposition. Adversity. Mm-hmm. In the face of adversity.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's really cool. A lot of people like underdog shows.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to get this gripe out of the way because it's going to be mentioned a lot in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that Akko is coming into this. She's coming from a completely different background than what is traditionally considered to be a witch at this. It's a specific academia. And we're going to talk about the academia here in a second. But my one single gripe about this entire show is these two freaking NPCs. And I'm just going to consider them NPCs because that's all they are.
I know one of them, her name is Barbara. I don't know what the other one name was.
I honestly don't care what their names are.
It's like anytime they appear, it's like they just it's
all
like,
they do
is
it's like about
think of Luna Nova as a stage, right?
Yes.
And it's like you have Akko who's our main character.
You know who they are? The evil stepsisters.
You are so glad that we are not talking about season 2 right now.
Oh no! We already had a Cinderella reference. I might as well bring this in because that's literally all they are. Is they just spout so much negative crap, and it's not necessary. I'm just like, why do you have to be so negative?
But like, the thing I was saying was that like they're like the two stagehand people, right? Yeah. And they just somehow just wander on set. And they're just
you don't deserve this time.
They wander on set, and then they have like 1 to 2 lines, and then it's just like, what was that for?
Your contribution brings nothing but negativity. All right, but I'm going to talk about that more towards the end. We're going to talk about the actual show now. Mm-hmm. So, Little Witch Academia. Other than me talking about how much Akko gets crapped on, who's Akko? I bet you're wondering. For those of you who haven't actually watched it. First off, if you haven't watched it, but are like, putting it off, let me tell you, as someone who was kind of like apprehensive to watch this show, watch it. It's actually a pretty good show. I was pleasantly surprised by how this show actually is. Mm-hmm. Mainly just because of the negative crap that I've been hearing about the freaking NPCs. But anyway.
See, I've watched it multiple times at this point. So.
I'm about to say, this was like your 5th run-through of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, definitely from someone who's watched it multiple times, he can tell you that this is a good show that you should watch. And I definitely say, as someone who was apprehensive watch the show. It's actually pretty good. I liked it. So, Akko, our main star, she is, ever since she was a child, she wanted to become a witch. Here's the thing. She's not from a witch background.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we, but she gets accepted into basically anime Hogwarts.
Luna Nova, yeah.
She gets accepted into Luna Nova, an all-girl witch school, which is something that I realized. I was like, whoa, it's all girls.
Yeah.
Like, even the professors are all females.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And I'm just kind of like, okay, interesting. All-girl Hogwarts, got it.
And it was weird because, like, at the beginning when Akko was, she's like, I finally made it to, so she's like, I'm in the town where Chariot was. And I was like, all right, cool.
And you can completely tell how how a fish out of water she is. Because she's saying, where's the bus stop?
Right.
And everyone's like, there's no bus stop.
There's no bus stop. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's crazy. What are you talking about? There's no bus stop.
And then when she actually looks at the map and she sees the ley line, and then she goes up there and then she sees a couple of the, other girls, and they're like, this school's going downhill. And I was like, what do you mean?
They accepted a commoner.
They're like, did you hear? They accepted someone who doesn't even know how to use magic.
No, they accepted someone who doesn't even come from a magic family.
And, and I was like, dang, that's kind of harsh, though.
I know, like, geez, calm it down. And then, they see Akko, and they basically are not welcoming to her at all. Yeah. We also kind of saw that with a little bit of Susie, but then again, Susie was just annoyed by Akko's.
It was funny though.
Personality.
It was funny though.
It was funny. Not gonna lie.
But like when Susie, was just walking, and it was just like, okay, I know she's not saying much,
but you can tell that Akko at least knows something about magic because she's able to categorize what magic Susie is using. Yeah. She said, wow, that's puppet magic. I haven't seen it in person. I've read about it before. So Akko's not completely, clueless when it comes to the world of magic. Yeah. She knows the classifications of magic. Right. It's just that she doesn't come from a magic background herself.
Right. And then we meet Lotte,
who is your standard bookworm, who is doesn't want to cause trouble for anybody, but she doesn't want to have trouble done to her either. Right,
and she literally just went to Luna Nova so then she can learn magic, so then she can just run her family's magic shop. Her family's tool shop. And I was like, that's interesting. And then when it got into the whole thing of, Lotte really loves books, especially this one book series called Nightfall, and I was like,
which is basically Twilight.
I was like, Nightfall. Like, the first time I went into this, right? And I heard Nightfall, and I was like, I was like, that's just a reference off of Twilight. What the heck? And then come to find out, it's not just a reference on Twilight. It's a reference of all the genres put together.
You have Sherlock Holmes put in there. You have Gone with the Wind.
You have romance and friendship.
And you have a little bit of One Piece because you're traveling. There's 365 volumes of this book. I'm just like, what in the world?
Like, jeez Louise. But it
but you're already being
you get introduced to our main cast, to our main trio, pretty much.
You get introduced to our main trio, but you also get introduced to the fact that this witches society. Yeah. Witch society is completely based off of tradition. Yeah. Because we see when she gets into the school itself, after all the debacle of episode 1 and stuff like that, we get introduced to Diana, who is the complete opposite of Akko. Diana comes from a noble witch's family.
The Cavendish household.
She comes from a long line of powerful witches. She's put together, she knows her magic. Anything she can do with so much grace. Right. Basically, whatever she puts her mind into.
High-level spells? Like, how?
Yeah, and she's just her first year into the school and stuff like that. And it's just kind of like, okay, cool. We're introduced. We're following the underdog, the one who literally has zero experience in magic, to, she wants to become the greatest witch of all time. That sounds familiar. It sounds like a Naruto plot to me. Right? But anyway, I'm not trying to say anything.
Instead of Hokage, I want to become an entertainer.
Also, this is the story about how I became the world's #1 hero. Sorry, bringing back My Hero Academia here for a second. We've heard of this plot before. Mm-hmm. She then gets faced with Bakugo. I mean Diana. Sorry, God. It's like the references, the shows are all starting to blend together.
But the thing is that, I find it interesting that Akko was the one who found Diana to be a worthy rival in the first place.
Yeah, and she's not, at first she doesn't really even take it as, a bad thing. It's after she gets put down multiple times. It's not just by Diana. You can see that, yes, Diana does kind of put her down, but she more or less just wants Akko to be disciplined. Mm-hmm. As it's gone on, Diana herself is not trying to push the narrative of, I'm going to be mean to you because I know that I'm better than you. Right. It's more or less just, I'm focusing on my work. I'm showing you what I can do. I'm not out here intentionally me telling you, hey, I'm better than you. You should just leave. It's those that are around her.
Right.
Pushing Diana up on a pedestal and pushing Akko down to the ground.
Right. There's a moment where Diana is talking to Akko.
Yeah.
Right? And when she's belittling Chariot, right?
Yeah.
She goes, Chariot is looked down upon at Luna Nova. So even though she went to Luna Nova,
yeah,
it's like, oh, yeah, she was a great entertainer, but nobody in the witches world
takes her seriously, yeah.
And the thing is that you also get a glimpse of Diana.
And that's the thing that's the one hypocrisy that upsets me, was because Diana was also at that same thing. If you've noticed in episode 1, at the very beginning, you see Diana in the crowd alongside with Akko when they were both kids. They both look up to Shining Chariot, and we can tell, in season 1 it's not addressed that Diana also, holds Shining Chariot in a high pedestal.
Yeah.
It's not shown that at all in season 1. I know it's probably a thing that pops up in season 2. I've read some things about season 2 and the ending. Not the true. I don't know how it ends, but we also see that there's a breaking point with Diana where when they find out about Shining Chariot, she throws a fit too. Kind of. Yeah. It's not as big of a fit as what Akko throws. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
That threw Akko for, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, besides that, though, it's you have the fact that you have... So, I love it how it's almost like everyone is against Akko.
Yeah.
Except Susie, Lotte, and Ursula.
Yeah.
You have 3 people.
Hold on a second.
4 people.
Actually, technically, Headmistress.
Headmistress Holbrook. Then you also have Amanda, you have Constance, and you have Jasmine. You have 7 people in Akko's corner.
Eventually, Akko grows a friendship circle.
Yeah.
She has a support group that don't push her down.
Right.
But, in half of a way, Diana, like I said earlier, Diana isn't pushing her down. This is the complete opposite of what we see in underdogs taking on oppositions. Because let's think back to other stories that have a similar concept of becoming the best at something. Like I mentioned before, Naruto, he said he's going to become Hokage. There was Sasuke that was against him. Sakura was the biggest jerk to him. Right. And then still, the whole, I think I love you, Naruto. Get out of here.
Don't bring that up again. Golly. Then you still had Sasuke being like, I'm going to become the Hokage.
Bro, your whole clan got destroyed. All you're going to do is kill everyone in this clan and just become Itachi. It's fine. But no. So, I mean, but when that was a rivalry, they actively went against each other. Again, another one, My Hero Academia, surprisingly. Bakugo actively went out of his way to do whatever he can to physically make sure that he put Deku in his place. When he found out that he actually has a quirk, then he found out how he got that quirk, he did everything he can to be like, I am going against you to show you that you cannot be what you want to be.
Right.
I know he gets better, but that's how.
To hold back real hard.
I know, because I know you have the knowledge. I know, but that's how that dynamic started.
Yeah,
Diana, she isn't going out of her way, but when she's asked, "Hey, Diana, do this," like when they're in classes together,
right?
She has to do like what's asked of her, and it just so happens that she's able to do it a lot better and a lot of a higher, caliber and stuff like that. Understandable because, that's how she was raised. She was raised to basically be the best that she can be. And I can already tell that she's dealing with prodigy child syndrome. What is prodigy child syndrome? She doesn't have true friends because she puts her mind totally to what her craft is. And we can already see that when it comes to her relationship with Andrew.
Right.
Speaking of, who is Andrew, this mysterious male figure?
Or in Akko's case, you're the handsome Andrew?
Speaking completely within what is in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the handsome Andrew is another titular character when it comes to this particular group of characters. He doesn't do magic. He's a noble that's held in high regard at Luna Nova, which also, can we just say, a bunch of hypocrites? They pushed down Akko because she can't do magic, but they did everything they could to make sure that they entertained and kept, the statesmen and stuff happy. Right? And I'm just kind of like, but wait a second. Shouldn't you not also respect him? Like, this is just something I just now thought of. Shouldn't you not respect him? Because they can't do magic? What type of hypocrisy crap is this? I am now really upset. Anyway, we're going to get to that con here in a second.
What I do like, though, right, is the fact that Akko, so you know the trading cards that Akko has, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Akko memorized every last one of them.
That's
really to the point where those are actually spells.
Yeah. It's interesting
how
I
know that they were spells the first go around. And then when it came to the Fountain of Polaris.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck is Polaris? And then when it was further explained, I was like, oh, snap, that's a card she has. Because, it's funny how she keeps the cards scattered around in her room.
I realized this was going to become a thing when, by the second episode, when it came to the golden butterflies.
Yeah.
Because, she said, even though I don't know how to say the names, I don't know the correct pronunciations, but I do know what the cards do. And then it turns out like those cards are actually like real knowledge when it comes to the witch's world.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, okay, this is a theme.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to play harder into the plot somehow.
Right. You mean like freaking Diana being like, okay, we're going to take out the freaking vines that are growing on the herbal tree. And then Akko's like, nah, you can't do it. Diana sat there and shot Akko in the back. Like, jeez.
Yeah, so at first I thought...
she wasn't aiming for Akko, but Akko jumped straight in front of the bullet. But I'm like, golly.
Because she wanted, she was like, Diana, I need you to listen to me.
Yeah.
And Diana was just kind of like, no.
Or like, even when she had the shiny rod and she, showed it to Diana, oh, it's a cheap imitation. Okay.
That's when I first thought I was going to... I honestly... My feelings towards Diana has been so roller coaster, but I think now after watching it, and I've come to this realization, it's not Diana that I truly hate. Yeah, she's a little bit of a prissy person, but I realize she's more or less she's a villain by circumstance.
Right.
Because...
And she hangs around bad company.
We're going to talk about that bad company. Actually, that's going to be the next part of this conversation, but... How do I say she's a villain of circumstance? Well, she just so happens to become the villain of this story because she's so good and so held up, and because she is the embodiment of tradition.
Yeah.
While Akko is the avant-garde, the breaking of tradition.
Dang, you are. I am so glad we are not talking about. See, I keep bringing up season 2 because right now you are bringing up stuff that are happening in season 2, and I gotta sit here and step away from the door.
You have to like hold yourself back. So like it's like the things I know, the knowledge, the cursive knowledge I know, the memes.
Oh, Broom Race.
Yeah,
I liked it. I really like. The reason why I say I like it is because not only yes, Akko can't fly a broom.
Yeah, we also see. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like Akko is out here determined to become a witch, and she can't even do some of the basic stuff.
The thing is, like, everyone keeps telling Akko that every time Akko has a suggestion, they go, "Please, you can't even ride a broom, let alone do this." And
I know that's always like the comparison. It's just like, but like towards the end of the season 1 specifically. Yeah, she still can't ride a broom, but guess what? She's really good at metamorphosis magic. Yeah, she's still having a little bit of issues with it, but guess what? She's still able to do it.
Right?
Now, when it came to the broom race, actually,
mm-hmm.
I thought that this was when this show was gonna, because I thought at first the show was gonna become a, Monster of the Week type thing. But we're focusing on like different characters. Because at first I thought we was going to focus on Amanda.
Right?
Turns out that's not the case.
Also, Amanda's voice actor is also the voice of Ryoko.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Her voice did sound familiar, and I remember once I heard Ryoko's like English voice. Mm-hmm. So now that you said that, I'm just kind of like, I can see that.
Because like I remember
Trigger called in some favors.
Because I remember I watched it. It was right after I came off of Kill la Kill.
Okay.
And so I was
you were like, wait a second.
I was watching it, and then I was like, I looked at Amanda, and I was like, because you know how usually, you're more into the whole color scheme and everything.
Oh, yeah, and the animation.
And I'm like, and I saw Amanda, and I was like, you look like an interesting character. And then
you look like somebody
and then I heard her voice, and I was like, Ryoko? I was like, Ryoko? Wait a minute.
So, yeah. It's interesting that you said that. And also, one other funny thing I want to talk about with the broom race. Why did the broom instructor have like the most southern, like, what was with that accent? Amanda! If you can't fly safely, you can't fly at all. I was like, what? It's like the accent on her. I was just like, now I need to go back and listen to the, oh yeah. I watched the English dub. I broke my rule. Mm-hmm. I know usually I watch the Japanese dub of things, but this time I watched the English dub. Out of curiosity, I was like, let me break tradition here for a second.
See, I watched the dub, but I still had the subtitles on.
I didn't. I watched it sans subtitles. Also, one other frustration I have with this show, it's only available on Netflix. Now, I know why. It's a Netflix original series. But I mean,
it was on Crunchyroll at one point in time.
I think for like a short period of time because Netflix was like, "Oh no, we see that you're trying to create an empire of anime here. We're gonna make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you.
We're just gonna snatch that up.
That's my property."
And you want to know what the funny thing is about Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a Little Witch Academia.
Yeah.
You want to know what else they have?
Demon Slayer.
I mean, aside from Demon Slayer.
What else?
They also have Total as well.
It wasn't originally Netflix original. Anyway,
right?
We're not talking about streaming. I feel like that's a whole episode on its own. When it comes to streaming anime legally, we should make that an episode. But no,
the Broom Race was cool though, because it's like,
again, another breaking of traditions. We see that she's not even flying a broom. She gets the help of Susie. I like
the fact that with Susie at first, because at first it went Susie, Lotte, and then Akko.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's right. Because Susie was the one who sat there and had everyone at the sideline just stay there.
She said, can't do the race if you can't even lift up from the ground." No, it was Lotte first, and then Susie.
Yeah. And it was funny because then it's like, everyone's so far ahead, and then like you just see Constance over here just still going on the broom,
and you're like, wait, is that even considered flying?
And then you just have LNN, what News Network, and I'm like, LNN, is that just CNN?
Oh my lord.
But I'm like, wait a minute. Is she even riding a broom? I was like, nope, that's a broom.
That's a broom.
That's a broom.
It's flying.
It's flying, all right.
Also, yeah. Can we just talk about Constance for a quick second before we start getting into like the critical points of the show? Just Constance is also showing a breaking of traditions because she's using technology as her magic. Her magic is technology.
Right.
That's the theme that I'm getting with her, right? But no, what's super funny is just the dragon episode. When she pulls up, first I was like, she has a gun! And then she's shooting, and I'm just like, oh my god, they have guns. All of a sudden, towards the middle of that fight, she pulls out a rocket launcher. I'm just kind of like, what is the show? Constance, what are you doing, my girl?
Constance said, don't worry, I came packing.
She said, don't worry, I'm strapped. She says no words whatsoever.
She lets her weapons do the talking.
She said, my creations will do my talking. All of a sudden, she pulls out a gun. Everyone else is like trying to shoot off spells. She said, oh no, this is my spell. Fire!
She's like, bah, 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 bah. I was like, whoa, Constance, whoa, calm it down.
For Joker's down B, he uses gun.
For Constance down B,
it's gun. For her up B, it's rocket launcher. She just pulls it out casually. No words were said. She just shoot, boom. I'm just like, Constance, sweetheart, let's talk. Honey, we need to talk about your obsessions with guns. But so, to move this along, because we will talk about the entire season at this point. Pros, cons, and our final thoughts about this
season.
About the season. Pros, I have to say,
I called it Ursula Chariot.
Oh yeah, Ursula's Chariot. Also, those of you who have a very keen eye and have seen other Trigger works, especially when they were Gynax, the star.
Right.
The 4-pointed star. It's everywhere.
It's even in the moon.
I would say, if you've seen the blue moon, the freaking moon, Trigger star. And I'm just kind of like, that's going to be the signature thing. If Trigger does anything, it has to have the star.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know for sure it's in Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the first instances of it. I haven't seen Akira, so I'm not entirely sure if the star is in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to call it, is just the star. I know for sure.
It's the reference, but it's just the star.
It's the star. It's the main thing in freaking Gurren Lagann.
Oh, don't worry, it's in Kill la Kill too.
I know it's in Kill la Kill. It's in the uniforms. That's the whole thing.
It's in the Sengoku uniforms.
It's Sengoku. Like, the whole thing, it's the star. And
right?
even here, where I will say that, in all honesty, Trigger's animation for this is completely different from when you think of Kill la Kill. You think of the slapstick, like stiff, sometimes stiff animation because they want it to like be over the top and all that stuff. This is the animation for this anime, for Little Witch Academia specifically, is very flowy. Good example, the ending is so flippin' beautiful. The way that it starts. The way that the intro starts, the freaking cursive, that's the smoothest thing I've ever seen.
Starts off with the Big Dipper and then it goes into
slick like butter. I'm telling you. Just, and the hair, the way the hair moves and stuff like that. I cannot tell you a single point where, okay, actually, I lied. I can tell you where they did like the like little silly, like, 2-frame animation type thing when she was the merman. Then that's
yeah.
And that's done for like comedic effects and stuff like that. But I mean, just it's really beautiful. It's really flowy. When the magic hits, the magic hits hard. Like this is a very gorgeous anime. And as an animation nerd myself, like I watched this and I was just kind of like, oh my god! When Trigger makes a show, they do it right. Let it be theming of the show, the message of the show, or the freaking animation of the show, man. I was blown away.
It's almost like, like when we have food and you sit there and say, you put your foot in this.
Yeah.
That's what Trigger does when it comes to animation.
Like, Trigger doesn't always release an anime each season.
Right.
Of course. But when they do release, it's like once every blue moon. Haha. But when they do release, we're eating good.
Right.
So, I mean, that's one of my best cons about this is that it's just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And the story itself is really beautiful too. Facing adversity.
Right.
Now there's the adversity part that I want to talk about, but are there any more pros that you have when it comes to the show?
Episode 4.
Okay.
Which we talked about this one.
Yeah.
Coming from the writing
Nightfall.
Nightfall. I am not planning. Let me not. I'm gonna keep that note.
Let's take that back real quick.
Take that back. But it's when Lotte actually gets to talk with Annabelle.
Yeah.
And it's the fact of Annabelle doesn't want to continue to write Nightfall because of all the bad reviews she's getting.
Yeah. She's kind of similar to Akko. The show really shows she's similar to Akko, but she's not Akko.
Yeah. And then it gets to the point where Lotte just straight up asks Annabelle, well, what is your favorite? What book was your favorite to write so far?
Yeah.
Out of, what was it,
365?
65? And she said hers was 362?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then they just start having a full-on conversation. And then it hit me. This is way before I ever wrote my book, Not Human.
Yeah.
And when it hit me, it was like, all right, you can write, but it's like, you don't have to adhere to all the criticism.
Yeah.
There is good criticism and there is bad criticism.
Yeah.
Take the good criticism where it is. Bad criticism, leave it at the door.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what I basically got from. That's why I've been saying throughout the entire of this episode that I fell in love with it at episode 4, because that's what it meant for me. Because it's like, I get to find someone that I get to write my stuff for.
And I know this is another lesson that you've kind of internalized.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this about you for me being your friend personally. Another thing about episode 4 was that, literally Lotte said, yes, I like Annabelle, but I do not want to become Annabelle.
Right.
And when she says that, I was kind of like, Wesley embodies this a lot, because there are a lot of writers that you look up to, especially when it comes to like the
Percy Jackson. You're talking about Rick Riordan.
Thank you.
No.
The Percy Jackson series and Rick Riordan, like all of his series, you read almost every single one of his books that he's made.
Yeah.
But you aren't out here to become the next Rick
Riordan.
Rick Riordan. Mm-hmm. You're like, yes, I admire him. I love what he does. But guess what? That's what he does. That's what I love about his work.
Yeah.
It's his work. You're not out here to be like, I'm going to become Rick Riordan. No, you're out here to become Wesley Hall.
Right.
You're creating the stories that you want to create.
Right.
So yes, you have mentors, but you don't want to become them.
Yeah, because it's like, why would I want to become someone else when that person already exists?
Yeah.
I want to be me, but I want to be a better version of me than I am yesterday.
Yeah.
You're the better version of you now than you were a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. You want to keep on progressing, getting better with each and every day.
Yeah.
It's like how, I don't mean to turn this into a rant. I know we have to end off, but it's like practice makes you perfect. Even though there is no such thing as a perfect novel.
Yeah.
Or as in your case, there is no such thing as a perfect art piece.
Yep. And everything needs work.
And it's like, we get to a certain point where like, all right, we think we are done. We are good at this point. And then I may think, oh, I don't think it's good. I hand it off to you. And you're like, boy, what are you talking about? This stuff is like jaw-dropping stuff.
Yeah.
Vice versa for you. And be like, I'm not sure this is good. When I'm looking at it, you throw it over to me, and I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, you see all these references you're putting in here.
Here's an example of the stuff that I've been doing for you recently. I'm just kind of like, I know how I feel about this. And you just kind of like, what? What? What do you mean?
then I sit there and turn it into a freaking video and then send it back to you, and you're like, dude, what the heck are you doing? This looks amazing.
He's in such good work with my stuff. But no, that is another positive. Like the stories that do come out of this. So, I keep talking. Like I said, I mentioned before about the NPCs and my absolute hatred towards them. Yes, I understand. So this is my con. This is my biggest con when it comes to the show. And I will admit, it makes
Ursula with the eye color.
No, not Ursula with the eye color. That's completely obvious.
Right?
But no, it's... This is the part of the show that makes it a little bit hard for me to watch it. It's the adversity that Akko has to go through. Mm-hmm. Yes, Akko is proven to be a really hardworking individual by showing that she can do it no matter what. But it is how hard the opposition is pushing against her. Yeah, everyone's like, it's all about tradition. It's all about tradition. It's all about tradition. Not the headmistress.
Like when it came to the Siren Festival.
Well, before the Siren Festival, because that was the straw that broke my back. When I'm just kind of like, I dislike the opposition. Mm-hmm. Like I truly dislike the opposition. It's not like how in Demon Slayer. Yeah, I hate the demons, but when I find out about their human side, it makes me cry. And I'm just kind of like, they do a very special job of doing that. Yeah. Or with My Hero Academia, where Stain was an absolute bane of my existence, but his philosophies make sense. Like, I can stand behind it. There's nothing about the opposition that makes me want to be like, yeah, I can see their point of view.
No, I got you.
So... What am I talking about? Okay. So even before the Siren Festival, when it came to Akko's exams and stuff like that. Right. Yeah. Or even before that, just first off, the NPCs. They were the first points of my hatred towards what was the opposition. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of like, you're not even from a witch's background and stuff like that. Them constantly snarking and putting Akko down. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of like, okay, that's annoying. But not everybody can be like that. Right. Then we get to some of the professors, specifically the one of the head teachers, not the headmistress, the one that's kind of like underneath her. You know her. She's taller than the headmistress. She's slightly taller than Ursula. Ludwig. Thank you, Professor Ludwig. Mm-hmm. She is trying to find any excuse
to expel
Akko. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, this hits a little bit close to home. Not with me specifically, but I've known people who've been put down by teachers because they're just kind of like, they are unteachable. They have no right to be in school. Right. Yeah, so, I mean, that already hits me. And I'm just kind of like, if you see, I don't want to get into politics or I don't want to get into like education, but if you see somebody struggling, reach out a hand. There are different ways of teaching things. You shouldn't always follow tradition and be like, this is the way we've taught this. This is the only way that needs to be taught. No, that's so dumb.
In which this is why Ursula is the one who actually reaches out her hand. She's the one who basically told Ludwig, yo, stop putting Akko down. Yeah. Like, it's stupid. Like, I love what she says in her words. It's stupid. Yeah. Because we shouldn't be following the rules. We should be... Akko was trying to set a good example. We need to be following how she's doing things, and then help her, just like how we're trying to help out the rest of the students.
Yeah, because you're so willing to help out the rest of the students. Let's say there was a witch who came from a witch's background and was almost as bad, going down the not a bad route, but was having as hard of a time as Akko. They would be so willing to help out her because she came from a witch's background. Right? But Akko is just Ludwig. So, like I said, first was the NPCs.
Lukic. Sorry, not
Lukic. First was the NPCs, then was Lukic, and then it showed me that, okay, so it's not just these girls. Mm-hmm. It's other people, too. But not to the degree of the NPCs and Lukic. And then we see that it's other professors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not the headmistress. She thinks it's the most funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
But you see that the other professors are just kind of like, she's unteachable. We can't have her in class.
Right?
Like, they go off to be like, she's one of the worst witches. She shouldn't even be allowed in this school. Shut up. Oh my God. Then we get to the Sovereign Festival. Like, that was the final straw. The final straw was she helped this cursed soul.
Right?
Because, they were sacrificed for this, and for this festival, each team had to perform different tasks throughout the thing. And the final performance, or the final thing of the festival, is they summoned the grieving,
it was Baharaba the Grieving.
Vaharaba the Grieving, who the festival is
surprised
after.
I was able to remember.
I was surprised too, because I was like, dude, I cannot say this name. Vaharaba. Like, we see that she's a grieving spirit that's been doing this for 600 years.
Right.
And instead of trying to fix the problem, they're like, well, we know that if we give her sacrifices, they don't really die. But if we give her sacrifices, she can go to sleep and, things will be calm.
It'll be fine. We'll give her sacrifices. She'll settle down, and then we can see we're back up.
Yeah. This is literally the embodiment of, you're not fixing the problem. You're just,
Making it worse.
You're, here it is. You're targeting the symptoms. You're not targeting the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of like, if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah. They're not finding a solution. They're just, this works for a while, so there's no other way. We can't fix this.
Right.
I'm just like, whoa, that is terrible. So, and even Akko is just kind of like, isn't it depressing to have her, constantly be sad? Like, why are we doing it like this?
Right.
And when we find out the problem that she cursed herself because she wanted herself to have forever grief, because she wanted to remember the ones that she lost. And, Akko says this thing, and I'm still living by it, where don't hold on to the grief. That's not how your loved ones want you to remember them by. They want you to remember the good times.
Yeah.
And, Akko actually fixes the problem. And then she gets disqualified.
Right? For not following
Even
the
rules. Alumni and the visitors were just kind of like, wow, no one's ever done this before. That's amazing.
Right? The crowd was in an uproar, applause. Like, they were like, that was cool.
Yeah,
no one's ever done this before.
She's never been seen happy. She's always known as, like, grieving. But the professors are like, she didn't do it right. She's disqualified. She's disqualified for fixing the problem? She fixed it. She made her happy. Her soul can pass on and she can be at peace.
Her soul even did a little curtsy too.
Exactly. And here are like, well, no, they were supposed to do this way.
They were supposed to get eaten. She was supposed to go away. That we would all be happy. Like,
no. She fixed the problem. She actually cared about the core problem of the entire thing. Yet, y'all are just, no matter what, Akko could do something so freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they even downplayed the problem of, she just so happened.
And she used her metamorphosis magic really well in that whole scenario.
But, like, so, I was about to, sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. It's, so, remember when Professor Pisces got, flushed down by accident, and, Akko had to go find her. She ended up saving, like, a school of endangered fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, she helped an endangered species, and she found Professor Pisces was her fault. But, I mean, she saved an endangered species, but they're like, but you revealed yourself. You're in trouble. You should be kicked out of school.
And then there's
just
the one thing that I was so mad at, right, was when Lukic sat there and she was like, "Oh, but you did cheat on an exam. How? By saving a professor? By saving a professor, saving an endangered species. Also, you learned fish language in a day."
Like, she's made so many accomplishments, But y'all are just kind of like, well, she's not a real witch. Shut up. I'm so by that stupid logic of, well, she's not tradition. I don't give a crap if she's not tradition. She's making leaps and bounds. You should base her successes off of what she came from, not off of what stupid arbitrary standard that you're already holding. It's my problem with how some schools are ran, but we're not going to get into that subject right now.
I was thinking back to what Ursula had said when she was talking with Aku, and she was like, "Oh, some witches have gone on to be private investigators, and they use, what was it? It was like reconstruction magic to
figure out
how the scene goes." I was like, I don't know why, but I could see Ako probably do, if she put her mind to it. I could see her doing something.
But she's going more towards like a theatrical,
the whole entertainment, yeah,
which is still good,
right?
But everyone's just kind of like, it's no use. Anyway, that's my main issue when it comes to this anime. It made it hard at some points because it's just my main frustration with the opposition. Mm-hmm. This is man versus nature, or man versus society, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is a really good anime. I like it. It's just the opposition. It's avant-garde versus tradition. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I can't give a full synopsis because, of course, I haven't watched season 2.
Oh boy, you're gonna like season 2?
I know I eventually will have to watch season 2, but I feel like this is probably... I mean, we should probably end it off on a better note than me with my anger when it comes to this. Let's see. Let's talk about the fun little trigger references that we notice in here, other than the star, aka that Akira sequence in Susie's world.
Right?
Freaking when. Let me tell you, that was one memory I did not want to be reminded of, was Akira. I've never seen Akira, but I've seen that scene. You all know that scene if you've seen Akira. And then you see in Susie's dream where Lotte gets caught up in the mushrooms and it looks like she's about to die in a similar way that girl dies. I was like, I didn't need to be reminded of that, but gosh darn it, Trigger, I'm glad you pointed it out.
Oh man. And I remember...
I know you're telling me about a scene in season 2.
Yeah, I'm not saying it now. Unless you want me to.
You can. I mean, it's a reference.
So there's a moment in season 2 where they make a vote for this hunting spirit thing. And it gets to a point where Constance, she's the silent type. So she makes the vote. And then...
The one with the bazooka.
Right. So she makes the vote. And she's like, all right. She keeps telling Akko, I work alone. Stop coming to my workshop. And then Akko actually helps Constance with making the boat. And then Akko decides, I'm going to draw something in my downtime. So she draws this picture of a mech. And then Akko goes to sleep. One of the little robots that Constance has looks at it and then takes it to Constance. Constance gets fired up, makes the entire mech, and then they get attacked. And then, mind you, it's just the boat that gets attacked. And then you just hear Akko. She looks at Constance. She goes, "Captain, we're being attacked." And then out of nowhere, it starts morphing into this mech. And then all you hear. And then, once the mech is actually formed, you hear, "Believe in me who believes in you. That is my magic." And I was like, wait a minute, that's a Gurren Lagann reference.
I'm just like, coming right off the heels from Gurren Lagann. I'm just kind of like, oh my god. When you told me that, I was like, you know what? Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, that's a Gurren Lagann reference.
And I'm sure if we go further enough into this, we're gonna find a Kill la Kill reference.
Probably. We already found one. It's Amanda.
Amanda! You either fly safe or you don't fly at all. Oh my god. But anyway, this is
the legendary broom.
Well, the legendary broom turned out to be a bird, so...
They're still good, though.
It was still good, yeah.
Jeez. That also plays a part in season 2, but I'm not getting into that.
Gotcha.
We are going to end off here.
Yeah, we're starting to run a little bit over, so yeah, we got to get off.
So like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, yes, please subscribe.
And if you are on Podbean.
Podbean? Podbean.
Podbean. You should also subscribe onto there.
I'm gonna say this now. If you're on YouTube, if you go into YouTube and you're going into the search engine, type in the Underground Geek Shack as one word.
Yeah, we finally made a YouTube channel. By the time this comes out, I'm pretty sure it'll probably be well known. But if you do type down the Underground Geek Shack, no spaces in between anything. We'll make sure to put it in the description just so you know how to look us up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But other than that,
we've ran into issues where people are like, "We can't find you guys." And then,
yep, but this is the end. So, like you said, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time,
we hope you've enjoyed your visit to
the Underground Geek Shack. See you guys.